really simply just an approach we took to a game. So what we're looking at is applying something that the players can really simply latch onto. So if you think sports psychology wise, it's tough for the players to take in a lot of content if you don't have something to anchor it to. So quick example here that we're taking an approach for this Vital Cup match is no jumps, double up. So as I go through the process of speaking to how we're going to change the way we play, this should make it a little more clear, and no jumps, double up can be what sticks in the players' heads, can be what the coaches are emphasising in training and in the game. So to look at the opponent, I have a couple brief slides just to talk about the overview of them. So ultimately the big item here is that much of their attacking organisation relies on us jumping. So you see where I say no jumps, double up. Our fullbacks are commonly getting drawn into kind of the half space, but also the space between lines. So they're jumping and getting doubled up on by the opponent. So really what we're saying is we don't want our fullbacks caught in those 50-50 situations by jumping. So we would like them much more to sit. We're looking for that support to arrive to actually double up and assist the fullback. Other items just to note, they give us a little bit of space to start our build, and they do struggle against a low block but have fairly strong shots from distance. So there are risks and rewards to every approach. If we look at how they build from a typical goal kick, 4-2-3-1 on build. A quick example of this is shown here. Just as the goalkeeper's got a goal kick, we've got a good pan here where we're able to see quite clearly that 4-2-3-1 shape. And we can see this number 6 here is one of the fullbacks, just for our sake. Long goal kicks looks a little bit different. So they actually have one of the fullbacks step and it turns into a 3-2-4-1. So that fullback steps all the way up 2 lines to join. So again, you can just simply see that player has risen up here and there was a clear shift to show that they're going to go direct. And when they're advancing to final acts, they really take more of a 3-4-3 shape and they look to isolate fullbacks 1v1 or get them to jump and play in behind. So a few examples of this will be shown. As you can see, into that awkward space where the fullback jumped and ultimately left a 2v1 scenario. Same here, ball's played in to 1v1 isolate and potential PK shout. There we go, 2v1 again. I'll just rewind that one slightly. So you see, fullback on this side is in an awkward situation where they have to jump to try and win this kind of 50-50 ball, but they end up being nowhere near able to get to the ball, and ultimately it releases somebody in behind. So a lot of scenarios where that happened. As highlighted, a common tactic for them was to play into a 2v1 situation against our fullback. So oftentimes this ball into kind of like a 50-50 space where the fullback thinks they might be able to get to it. There's kind of an overlapping player coming through, and ultimately if this fullback jumps, it frees up space behind them, which they were able to exploit. So what we'll be looking to do is using kind of a 4-2-3-1 where we're looking more to the ball side 6, so the ball side part of this 2, to make those 50-50 challenges. And ultimately we're looking for that fullback to stay tucked in. So as we said, no jump. That's the role of the fullback here, is to sit in and not open that free space in behind them. And we're looking for doubling up where our 6 will come across. So we've got various set roles here. So we're looking from the moment they're building with the ball for the 9 to screen the 6 and engage at about the 40-yard line. So we're going to, or about 40 yards out from their goal, sorry. So we're going to be sitting off quite a piece. We'll be looking for the 11 and the 7, so our wingers, to chuck inside goal side of their back 3. So you can kind of see what we're looking for there. They should be in line vertically with the right and left centre backs, and they should be in line so they can at least see that next line of players. We're looking for the 10 to say goal side of their midfield on the ball side. The 8 and 6 to be in line with their number 9. So we're looking to add some numbers around there. And those 8 and 6, their role will be to assist the fullback in a 2v1 situation. 4 and 5 are looking to manage this number 9. So obviously if one of these players is stepping out to help double up, we'd be looking for our 2 centre backs to kind of manage the 9 instead. 2 and 3, stay patient, always goal side inside of their 7 and 11. So we're looking for them always to be tucked inside and always to be goal side. That being their primary duty is to look after the 7 and 11. Then what we're doing, so really we've identified again for the principles of the players, or for the ability of the players to absorb this information, we've created a space where we don't want any shots. So yes, we're sitting deep in a low block here, but we also know that they're quite strong in this area. So we're trying to prevent shots really from kind of the next 8 yards outside the 18-yard box. And what we're looking for, the duties of our 7 and 11, as we're in this defensive block, their job has been done. Not been done, but they've been bypassed. We'd then be looking for the 7 and 11 to stay high and wide, but looking to drop into this kind of awkward zone and kind of deploy a similar tactic against them, where they've only left 3 people at the back. We're confident that if we're able to stretch them, drop into this space a little bit, that'll either pull the fullback with, or it'll give the player time to open up their body and drive in a 1v1 scenario. So that's what we're looking for. When we do win the ball, we're looking for those quick attacking transitions. And then we've put together just a session for how we might do that. So managing outnumbered and defending against split wingers using a 4-2 structure in zones 1 and 2. And again, some core principles there. So defensive structure in our half would be our goalkeeper 4-2-3-1 from a 4-1-2-3. So you just see we've basically got 2 players dropping here, 1 player dropping here. Focus on sitting inside horizontally, sitting inline or goal side vertically. So we're blocking from the goal side. No shots for the central kind of 30 yards. No jumps, especially the fullbacks. And quick attacking transitions to our 11 and 7 who are staying around half. And we'll be looking for kind of additional context we added in a future session was the rotation of the opposite winger to rise, forward to slide, and the attacking mid to step. So that's kind of the next piece, but really we worked on kind of the defensive structure here with that quick attacking transition. And then the next kind of session we would talk about what we do when we are successful in getting the ball to either our 11 or our 7. So a few different parts of session we'd run through. So roles to prevent a 2v1 in zones 1 and 2 wide channel. An intro small-sided game. So we're just looking at how we can actually use the number of players we're going to have on a training night to put this into game-like scenarios. And then we would complete a functional as well. So we'd focus on one side of the play and we'd have the ball basically coming in waves of attacks, but looking to get kind of those core elements identified. So one additional example we could look at, this was a separate age group, similarly, same opponent, but we had less time to gather footage on this, but really we saw a different style of play. So where in the former examples, they were using those kind of wide areas and forcing the fullbacks to jump. In this, we saw them using a false 9, so somebody dropping off the front who was able to combine with the 10, 7 or 11 to get in behind. So yes, there's an element of width, but really this one relied a lot more heavily on that 9 dropping. We also noted their backline was something that we could work with, press them to get goals. And they do leave a back 4 and arrange themselves in a 4-3-3 or 4-4-2 diamond. So quite simply, common tactic to play into the 9 dropping off the front. So that player would have started somewhere high up, occupying the two centre backs, dropping in to receive a ball, and then typically you've got kind of like an overlapping attacking midfielder who's able to drive then at the back line. So how we would combat this, we'll have our ball side centre back jump to prevent any forward balls. So we are looking for the ball side centre back to track that player, not the player who they've necessarily started on, and would just track them. We're also looking for the ball side attacking midfielder to track the overlapping runner. So you see here this overlapping runner, we'd be looking for our attacking midfielder to actually make the effort to track that player back. What that looks like. So if we break it down for a session plan purpose, we'd actually have it kind of defending zones 1 and 2 against a false 9 in central spaces to prevent final act, with again attacking transition to wide areas for quick counters. So sitting inside horizontally, common themes, sitting in line or goal side vertically, so blocked from the goal side, and again no shots centrally. Tactics look a little bit different, so centre back tight marking on the 9, and we're looking for that double up from the CDM or attacking midfielder should they be making a recovery run. Fullbacks tucking, quick attacking transitions to 10-7, dropping into half to provoke the 1v1. So again, as mentioned in the former session, we'd be looking for them to actually drop into our half a little bit so that we're able to encourage them out or give ourselves the space to turn and go at them. Can all be broken down quite easily into a session then. So an arrival activity, just where we're working a little bit on some of the 1v1 defensive details or 2v1, 2v2 defensive details. A small sided game to draw out some of those common points. So in this, you'd really have your assistant coach working with the opponent's team to ensure that they're doing some of the behaviours that we expect to see. So for example, the assistant coach working with the red team might be very much focused on getting this number 9 in to occupy these players and timing their movements to drop off. We'd be looking at a functional there after. So again, working with the players that you have, re-emphasising those points. And as you can see, we've included targets in the wide spaces inside our own half. So really that's for the attacking transition moments. And then we finish out with a small-sided game.